Have you ever been lying in bed at 2 a.m., staring at the ceiling, replaying a conversation you had 3 years ago? Or maybe you're trying to send a simple text message, but you've rewritten it 15 times because you're terrified the other person might take it the wrong way? If you're nodding your head right now, take a deep breath. You're not alone. Today, we're talking about why our brains get stuck on repeat and how to finally turn down the volume. Welcome back to Season 2, Episode 3 of Progress Over Perfect. I am so glad you're tuning in today. We've been tackling some pretty heavy stuff lately. Over the last 2 episodes, we've talked about how to handle the sting of rejection and how to say no to peer pressure without feeling guilty. If you've listened to those, you might have noticed a theme. Dealing with those challenges requires a lot of mental energy, and sometimes the mental energy spins totally out of control. That's exactly what we're diving into today. Why we overthink everything, and how to finally quiet your mind. We're going to talk about why your brain acts like a broken record, why it's so hard to make simple decisions, and most importantly, how to break the cycle. So, why do we do this? Why do people overthink? Why does the brain replay conversations or immediately jump into the worst case scenario? First off, I want you to know that overthinking does not actually mean there's something broken inside of you. Actually, it means your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do: protect you. Deep inside your brain, you have a built-in alarm system. Its whole job is to keep you safe from danger. Thousands of years ago, danger meant a wild animal. Today, your brain's alarm system treats an awkward social interaction or a difficult test like a wild animal. When you imagine the worst case scenario, your brain is trying to prepare you so you don't get hurt. When you replay a conversation, your brain is trying to study what happened so you don't make a social mistake next time. But there's another layer to this. A lot of our overthinking comes from how we view ourselves and our mistakes. This brings me to one of my favorite resources, the book Mindset, The New Psychology of Success by Carol S. Dweck. Dr. Dweck explains that people often fall into the fixed mindset. This is the belief that your talents, your intelligence, and your worth are set in stone. If you have a fixed mindset, every single decision feels like a massive test of your worth. No wonder it's so hard to make decisions. If you believe that making one wrong choice means you're a failure forever, your brain will freeze up to protect you from failing. Overthinking is often just perfectionism in disguise. Your brain means well, but the problem is that overthinking doesn't actually solve anything. Have you ever noticed the more you think about a problem, the worse you feel? Why does overthinking make anxiety worse? It happens because your brain gets trapped in a loop. When you think about something stressful, your body reacts as if the stressful thing is happening right now. Your heart beats a little faster, your muscle tenses up, your breathing gets shallow. When you overthink, you aren't moving forward. You're just sitting in a parked car, revving the engine as hard as you can. You run out of gas, but you will never actually go anywhere. It drains your energy, makes you doubt your instincts, and steals your joy in the present moment. So how do we stop overthinking in healthy ways? The goal isn't to never have an anxious thought again. That's impossible. The goal is to catch the thought and gently guide your mind somewhere else. One of the most powerful ways to do this is to shift how you look at the situation. Going back to Carol S. Dweck's work in mindset, the opposite of a fixed mindset is a growth mindset. This is the belief that you can learn, grow, and improve through effort and experience. When you catch yourself overthinking a decision like, what if I choose the wrong elective? Or, what if I mess up this presentation? Try to apply a growth mindset. Tell yourself, even if this doesn't go perfectly, I will learn something valuable for next time. Suddenly, the decision isn't a life or death test of your worth anymore. It's just an experience. Taking the pressure off helps calm that internal alarm system so you can think clearly again. Another healthy way to stop the loop is to ask yourself one simple question. Is this problem something I can actually solve right now? If you can solve it, take one tiny step towards fixing it. If you can't, because the event already happened, or it's because it's out of your control, you have to give your brain a new job to do. Go for a walk, listen to a podcast, call a friend. You have to break the circuit. Before you get the challenge, let's talk about the traps people fall into when trying to quiet their minds. The biggest mistake is getting mad at yourself for overthinking. We all do it. You catch yourself worrying, then you start worrying about how much you're worrying. You think, how can I stop this? Why am I like this? Let's bring in Dr. Dweck's mindset one last time. Beating yourself up for thoughts is a classic fixed mindset trap. It assumes you should be naturally perfect at controlling your mind. But managing your thoughts is a skill, and like any skill, it takes practice. And instead of being harsh with yourself, give yourself some grace. Just say, oh, there goes my brain trying to protect me again. Thanks, brain, but we're doing okay right now. Another common mistake is trying to forcefully block the thoughts. If I tell you, do not think about a pink elephant, what do you immediately think about? A pink elephant. If you tell yourself, stop thinking about the embarrassing thing I said, your brain just holds on to it tighter. Don't fight the thought, acknowledge it, and then gently shift your attention to something else in your physical environment. When I was younger, I used to overthink everything. After a hangout, I would always worry about what they were thinking of me and overanalyze every little thing I said. And especially in school, after a test, I would get so worried about my score and my grades, it would ruin my whole day. Even after I got a good score on my test, I would worry about the next test. And then I would worry about the test after that. And I would just get into this loop of overthinking. But one day, I read a book called Mindset by Carol Dweck, and it really helped me shift my perspective. I still overthink sometimes. Everyone does. But when I start to overthink, I would shift my focus away. Maybe I'd start working on a new podcast, maybe I'd start reading, or I'd start cooking, which is one of my favorite activities to do. So this is your lesson if you're going to take one thing away. Overthinking is part of daily life, but when you do start overthinking, try to shift your thoughts away from there and do something you like. You know I'm not going to let you go without some homework, but don't worry, it's easy. Here is your challenge of the week to help you practice quieting your mind. There are 3 simple action steps. The first step would be to catch the loop. Your only job for the first few days is to notice when you're overthinking. You don't even have to stop it right away. Just catch it and say it out loud. I'm in an overthinking loop. Naming it takes away its power. The second step would be to do a brain dump. When your mind is overflowing, get it out of your head. Grab a piece of paper and write down everything you're worried about. Once it's on paper, your brain doesn't have to work so hard to remember it, and the thoughts instantly feel smaller. The third step would be to take one action. Look at your list. Pick just one thing you have control over, and do a tiny 5-minute task to address it. If you have no control over anything on the list, your action step is to get up, change rooms, and do an activity that requires your full focus, like drawing, playing a video game, or organizing your desk. Overthinking is exhausting, but it doesn't have to control you. Remember, your brain is just trying to help, but you're in the driver's seat. You get to decide when it's time to stop replaying the past and start living in the present. It takes practice, but I promise you are capable of growing this skill. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. If this episode helped you, please share it with a friend who might need to hear it too. Until then, keep taking small steps forward, and always remember, we're aiming for progress over perfect. Have a great week.